Yeah, there's language in the podcast episode. Get over it. Dude, you look good. What's up?
Not much. What have you been up to?
This month, not a whole lot.
No?
Um, uh, it's funny. June was like a physical recovery, and July has been somewhat of a mental or emotional recovery for me. Ever since what happened,
So physical recovery because of your surgery you had?
yeah, I had tonsils and adenoids taken out June 4th,
Yep.
and then July 3rd, I ended up quitting my job because end of June I went back to work, and I was like ready to get back to work, and then July 2nd, some bullshit happened. I don't know how much you know with my boss, but it wasn't a good
I
situation.
said something about that, but he didn't say a whole lot. He just said that you quit because it was just kind of a shit situation.
Yeah, and I went over like the whole story in my podcast with David, my last podcast that I
So
did.
the one I haven't watched yet.
Yeah, probably. I just posted it.
Okay.
I just got back to doing this because I took a month off, and
Okay.
more than a month off. It was a month and a half probably. And then I did Hugh Josiah, David, and now David was a repeat and kind of unplanned. This was unplanned. Thank you for hitting me up. This
Yeah.
was like I was doing nothing. So yeah.
Well, I just watched your video on YouTube. You must have just posted it recently about the camera operators.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah, dude. I know. I feel like for that one, it's such a specific audience that's going to watch that
Oh,
and
yeah.
enjoy it. But they're really going to like it.
I was watching it, and Kaylee and Jax were watching a movie on the TV, and she's like, "What are you watching?" Because I was like laughing my ass off.
For sure, dude.
I'm like, "You wouldn't understand."
It's so funny. Throwing that together was so unplanned too.
Yeah.
It was just like we had the idea for Joey. Joey is, I don't know if you know which one he is, but he's one of the guys.
Okay.
He recorded his voice, and we actually just used his voice, which is what you hear in the recording of the sound, and we threw that on. And then I just had the idea like a couple weeks later because we had posted that. So a couple weeks later, I do like a reciprocal where I record my voice, and then I sent it to Nathan, and I was like, dude, do the same thing.
Well, this is like all improv then.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Totally
Yeah.
improv. Yeah. No script, nothing.
That's awesome. It
Yeah.
fits so well. It was so funny.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
No, I appreciate you watching it. That's really funny.
Yeah, I got a notification for it, and it popped up.
Perfect.
Oh, this is gonna be funny.
Nice. That's really
Using
funny.
an inhaler now?
Yeah, I don't even have asthma. But it helps my lungs.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't admit that part because actually, you told me if you get caught with one of these, isn't it like it's not prescribed to me, right? So,
I don't know if inhalers are the same. I know if you have other like types of medication that aren't prescribed to you, that's highly illegal.
mhm. I had an inhaler with me when I was working at the airport, and I have this memory because it was new to me of you saying you saw this and you go, do you have a prescription? And I said no, and you said don't get caught with that. And I was like, interesting. Like I didn't even think that. And we were at Kiowa's house hanging out or something. But
That's probably why I don't remember them.
right, yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, there was one time. This gave me a hint as to your memory, I guess. Uh, you came over one night and it was just us two at my house, on the really nice house apartment that I stayed at with Tristan and Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, that love one of my favorite places I've ever lived. You and I, we were like in between film sets, right? So we were off hours. To the next day, we were going back on a film set. And we had just I still have memories of that night of making you laugh really hard. And then the next day, I like asked you about those things, and you were like, I don't remember. I was like, that was like, because I made you laugh really. Oh, it was like we were filming those dances. That's what it was.
Oh, the dub smashes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were filming those.
Yeah, those memories came back. I do remember those.
Yeah, because there's video archive footage of it, but
That's true. No, Kaylee gives me shit about that all the time. She'll be like, how do you remember this but not that? Like, I'll remember such weird, specific events that weren't, like, impactful in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
And we were just talking about this the other day because I forgot what we were talking about, but I brought up a date we went on when we first met.
Okay.
I was like, we went out with your friend and someone she had just met, and the guy was in the Army. She's like, I don't remember that at all. How do you remember that, but you don't remember, like, I don't know, like this birthday party we went to,
sure,
like a family member's birthday party. I'm like, I don't know.
Extremely selective. That's what it is. Selective, not a choice of yours either.
Right.
Probably has to do with something with smoking weed. I feel like usually I pride myself on my memory. Usually I'm like, I have a really good memory. And then I'll have little like debates with siblings about shit, and it turns out they're totally right. And I'm like, wow, I was way off. You know, I definitely have that too. But nobody's like pointing it out to me. I'm just coming to that realization myself.
I know. Yeah, I've actually gotten in arguments with Kaylee on that because I'll think that I'm right. Like, I'll genuinely think that I'm right, and then we'll be talking about it, and I'll be like, wait a second. No, she's right.
Yeah. She's totally right. Yeah. That's funny. So, have you stopped working at all, or have you kept working through the spring, summer?
Oh, yeah.
Really? And no
I didn't. Oh, yeah. We laid off like 80% of our employees, but because I'm like a foreman, I'm called a supervisor at my job.
Yeah.
I didn't get laid off.
Dude, I remember you working your way up. You know, I was with you most of that time as you were like giving me updates as to working your way up, and that's so cool. Now, job security, bro.
Yeah.
Wow. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Kind of makes you realize that a lot of adults aren't really adults.
Sure.
Because I have people that are twice my age that work under me, and I'm like, wow, you have no common sense.
No incentive to keep going like you did.
Right.
Damn. Dude, you the first word that just came to me was hustled, but I don't think that's the word. I think you just like grinded, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I've sat back a couple times and been like, I could not be where Delaat is. I couldn't be there at this age specifically.
Well, I will say it wasn't by choice. Well, it was and it wasn't. So I didn't really have a choice, you know? Like if I didn't have my family and stuff, I don't think I'd be where I'm at.
Right.
Like they're the driving factor that keeps me going. Like having my son and my daughter and then my wife, obviously. So
I'm watching Breaking Bad right now for like the third time. And what Walt does, you know, he says it like almost overuses the phrase, what I do for this family.
Right.
But I truly like.
There is some honest truth to that.
Right.
Whether it be the right thing to do or not, probably not in his case, but.
Right. That's the question that the filmmaker's begging.
Right.
What would you do?
Right. In his circumstance, honestly, like, I don't know.
Lung cancer specifically.
Right.
Like, you got a year and a half. Are you going to make it work or not?
Right.
And he made it work, like, really, really quickly. So
I guess if I had the background and skill set he had, I might have honestly gone the same route.
mm,
It's kind of crazy to think what you would do for your family to provide for them.
right.
Like I've been talking to Kyle about stuff like that too, because he's having a kid now.
Mm,
So
I
he's
know.
been asking me a lot of questions about stuff like that. So we've been, I don't know, I haven't really seen him a whole lot lately, to be honest, but when we do talk, it's kind of stuff about that. And then it kind of gets me thinking after I'm done talking to him, I'm like, what would I do? Like,
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I know semi what you're talking about as far as like providing for family,
yeah.
with Kiowa specifically. And then he messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I have to tell you something. I have big news for you." And my response was, "You're a dad." That's what I said to him. I said, "You're a dad," and he goes, "How'd you know?" And I was just like, "That. How do you lead with I have something to tell you without me?"
Right.
A guy
It's
his
either you're going to have a kid or you're getting married. Like, those are
Yep.
the only two options.
Yep.
Like, oh, I got this hangnail off. Like, that's some
Yeah.
news.
Yeah. And he had told me when he reached out to me, it was a month, and then he mentioned to me in conversation that it was a month that he knew about this. So when he called me,
Yeah.
I was not there to pick up the phone when he had just found out, and he was probably freaking out. And I apologized to him. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I wasn't there as a brother to like be there for you in your moment of freaking out a little bit, because I would have been. I would have been.
Oh, yeah, he was for sure. I mean, I was when I found out
Yeah.
when I was pregnant. Well, not me personally pregnant, but.
You found out.
Right.
Yeah.
But he called me when I was at work, actually texted me, and I ended up calling him because he like doesn't ever text me. Like
Oh.
the way he texted me just kind of set something off in my head. I was like, something's not right.
Man.
So I called him and he's like, yeah, so I'm gonna be a dad.
Oh.
And like I immediately got like super excited because
Sure.
I already have two kids. And
Yeah.
I've gone through it. But
Yeah.
I know he was freaking out at the time. But I got excited because I'm like, oh no, another friend of mine has a kid. Awesome.
Yeah. Seriously, because so close in age too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with you guys being so close since you were probably around that age, right? Or am I?
Actually, we became friends in fifth grade. It's funny.
Fifth grade. Okay.
So I moved to Middleville when I was going into second grade.
Sure.
And I became friends. I don't know if you ever met him. Carl? Did you ever meet Carl?
I met Carl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we became friends. And him and I actually bullied Kiowa on the bus. And
I
then
heard
like
about this. That's
yeah.
right.
And then like our fifth grade year, Kiowa and I were in the same class, and we were the only two that like I only knew him in that class and he only knew me, and we just kind of hit it off ever since.
Gotcha.
So
Do you think you guys would have hit it off had you not already had the background of bullying and conflict? Like getting that out of the way first off, once you guys saw, oh, this guy's actually kind of cool.
I think we would have. So when I was that young, I think I was just kind of going along with it because Carl was the older kid, so I was just kind of following his lead at the time.
Yeah.
So I think if I would have met Kiowa before that, like I probably would have became friends with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So fifth grade. Fifth grade is how old? I always forget grades.
Oh boy. Let me do some quick math. So
I'm thinking 12, 13.
no, I would have been 11. So I was I would have been turning 12 in 5th grade, but typically it's 11 because I was always older than everyone in my class.
Gotcha. Yeah, literally, when anybody uses a grade to explain their like region in life or age or
Yeah.
whatever, I'm like,
Nope.
18. I don't.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Nope, don't know when that was. Or
Yeah,
even
that's that part.
knowing like the year, like if someone brings up a grade, I'm like, what year was that? But if
Oh,
I think of my
sure.
age, I can be like, all right, I'm this old and just go back real quick.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This is actually like the second time I've ever used Zoom, so
Oh, really? Yeah, I
yeah.
was wondering if you had if you were having to download it or go to their website or whatever.
So it's weird because the first time we used it, it was like when the shutdown first happened in Michigan for COVID and everything. So my in-laws actually wanted to see the kids, so they set up a Zoom meeting with us so they
Oh,
could see the kids.
right.
But I didn't have to download anything, and then you sent me that link through a text, and I put in the URL on my computer, and I had to download it. So I don't know.
Something changed in between then and now, I think. Zoom
Probably.
caught on that they were the app of the year, and I think even started charging, or I think they already did. Maybe something different happened. You had to download the app and have it instead of just the website.
Yep. Zoom was like brand new to me. Like I
Yeah.
haven't even heard of it
Oh,
until COVID.
yeah. Same.
And then all of a sudden it took off. I'm like, man, I should have invested into that company.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like waking up and seeing just like a royal blue sky with clouds and then some trees like overhead. It's just such a beautiful.
Kind of gives you a blissful feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. I just had a little comment response to Cameron when I said something about moving to Texas.
Yeah, I saw that too. I didn't know you were planning on moving there.
Yes. Yeah. I My parents were asking me like during my recovery to kind of uh scoot out of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um so I was looking everywhere. I was looking um and it was kind of just a wake up call. And still one that we're trying to accomplish is to get me to be out on my own again. That's where they're coming from.
Right.
Because it's been a year, coming up on a year and a half that I've been here with them again. So that's a long time.
It's been that long?
It's been that long since I've been
Wow.
out of Michigan. And Jeff was like, "Dude, I got a spare room. I won't charge you rent. Just pay for food, and it would be on South Padre Island, which is like, the southernmost point in Texas, but I think also the country. I'm not sure if Florida or Texas is lower, but I think it's Texas. Um, right near the right near the border of Mexico.
Okay.
It's an island. It's actually an island, and there's only like one bridge off the island. That's a little sketchy to me if anything were to happen, because right now there's a hurricane hitting South Padre.
Yeah, that's what I saw in your post.
Yeah,
So
and so I
have you
texted
talked to him
Jets.
then? Is he in yeah, is
Uh,
he okay? Is he in any danger or
he is 5 hours away from there, from South Padre, with his family. So,
okay.
5 hours off the coast would hopefully get you. I don't think hurricanes go that far onto land.
I mean, I don't think it'd be like catastrophic damage, but it'd be like a big windstorm, I would imagine.
Yes.
Because hurricanes are like massive storms. That's
Right.
not like a tornado or something. Hurricanes wipe out everything.
It's crazy. I was just trying to set up my green screen, and it just kept like falling over. I don't have sandbags yet, but I was like, this could even be residue of the hurricane. This strong wind that Oregon's having today could be residue of a hurricane. I don't know if it looks like that or if it doesn't even relate, like Oregon's wind zones are not even affected or whatever. I don't know, but that would be interesting. If I'm feeling
Some storms can do that. Like I know there was a hurricane recently. I don't know if it was on the East Coast or like down by Florida and stuff, but we actually got hit with like thunderstorms because of that storm.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, so that does happen, but it's nowhere near what the actual storm is causing where it's at.
Yeah.
You can get like, I guess like residue or whatever it is from that.
Wow. Have you ever been or seen a tornado with your naked eyes? With your beautiful eyes?
No, I haven't actually seen one, but I've had to go to a shelter before when I was real little. I have a vivid memory how my dad lived in an apartment out by Green Lake. I don't know if you know where that's at.
I don't think so.
No, it's probably 20 minutes away from Kiowa's house.
Oh, okay.
So he lived at an apartment out there, and I have this vivid memory of getting woken up, and like he picked me up and ran me down the stairs, threw me in his truck, and he had to like pull his door shut, and we had to go to the tornado shelter because there was a tornado coming. Jeez. Or it actually touched down right by us.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't see it. That's the only memory I have of it. I had to have been 5 maybe.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and for that to be, happening when you're 5, that's a pretty vivid memory.
Yeah.
I was here in Oregon, but living with the Propers at the time, and there was a tornado like in or around Grand Rapids or something. Stephen Proper was messaging me saying I'm in my underwear in the basement looking at a tornado outside the window. Yeah,
really?
I don't know how much you remember or experience of that one. I didn't really even know that Michigan could get them. There have been a couple.
Oh yeah, there's actually a spot in like Kentwood, like Grand Rapids, that's actually called Tornado Valley because like every year it gets hit by tornadoes.
I had no idea.
Yeah. We had a really bad one probably 4 years ago. Maybe it was more than that.
I would have been living there at the time.
It might have been before Compass.
Okay.
Like I said, my memory kind of sucks, and my frame of time and everything is just like I could be thinking of a memory from yesterday and think it was like a year ago, but
yeah, seriously, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it wiped out like a whole neighborhood. Like cars were flipped over, like roofs of houses were taken off, trees were down everywhere. Like,
fuck.
That was bad. It's actually where my cousin lives, and his neighbor's house on both sides got taken out, but his house was fine.
Okay.
They just had a tree down in their driveway.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There was something that happened to Brandon's house. A tree collapsed because of strong winds, just right on the top of his roof. Not when I was living at his house, but yeah.
Wow. I just actually had a coworker. We had a thunderstorm come through recently, and he had like a brand new car, and a tree fell on it.
Oh my God.
Smashed the top right in. I'm like, wow, I hope you had gap insurance on that,
right.
dude.
Seriously. Oh, that must suck. Like paid
I mean,
flat
I don't
fee?
mean to laugh, but it is kind of funny because just the situation. Like, he's a nice guy and everything. Like,
Sure.
I'm not laughing because I'm like, ha, sucker. You know?
Right. No. So what you been watching in off time or days off?
So dark. I don't
Dude,
know if you
I've been
checked that.
curious about that. Tell me about that without spoilers. It's in German, right?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So a coworker of mine actually watches it, and you can change the settings on Netflix to actually dub it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried that, cannot stand it when it's dubbed because I
Nope.
started watching it with the subs. So
Yes.
I got
Okay.
used to reading the subtitles, and I'm fine with that. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, I hate subtitles. I'm not watching that." Blah blah. I was like, "I'll try the dub."
Yeah.
Awful. Can't
Right.
stand it.
Yeah.
And it was weird because they'll be speaking German, and I know they're speaking German because I started watching it with subtitles. But sometimes their mouths will match up with the English words. I'm like, that's weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
I believe it because they have very similar words as us. Um, it's funny. Yeah, dude, I hate dubbed. Living in Brazil and going to see a movie, I would have to see it legendado, which means just subtitled in the, um, because in Brazil, they will actually show movies in English with Portuguese subtitles
Okay.
for the Brazilian people.
That makes sense. So,
Yeah.
like, if they were to show like a Marvel movie, it would play like it would play here, but you'd have Portuguese subtitles,
Uh-huh.
right?
Or
Okay.
they'll have dublado, which is to dub it, and those are separate viewings at different times. And
Okay.
I can't. I mean, obviously, I can't go watch those because I can understand English. But anything that I would catch on TV that would be dubbed in Portuguese, I can't do if I'm watching any sort of a foreign film because unfortunately I don't anymore. Like I really used to be into foreign films, and in the past year and a half or a couple of years, I really haven't given foreign stuff any time of day.
See, I wasn't either, and then I came across Dark, and it is fantastic.
Sure,
I love that show.
it's cool.
I haven't finished it yet because I was like 2.5 episodes in, and Kaylee started watching it with me. And then I went to watch it again, and she's like, "Don't watch that without me." I'm like, "Really?
Oh, damn.
You already missed 2.5 episodes. Just watch
Yeah.
it on your own now."
Wow. All right.
That's
So
crazy.
there's three.
3 seasons, yeah. I think I'm on season 2, like episode 3. I
Oh,
want to say.
nice. Cool.
I haven't watched it in a couple weeks, so I might start over honestly, just so I can have a refresher because there's a lot of stuff like you have to pay attention to it
Mhm.
because how do I put this? The story kind of bounces back and forth within certain episodes. So if you're not paying attention, you're going to get lost real easily.
That makes sense.
But
Yeah, you can't be like on your phone, especially because you're gonna miss the subtitles. You're not gonna know what they're saying.
that was another problem I had. Like if I watched something, I'd always be on my phone. But
Yeah.
this, I put my phone down and I'll pay attention to this. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting back into watching like actual good content.
Cool.
So
That's so important.
yeah.
It's
Don't get
important.
me wrong, I still watch the occasional bullshit stuff, just like mind numbing, just turn it on just to have it on type of thing.
Because we've seen this spike, and they're so afraid to talk about why the spike happened. Um, you know, they're so afraid to mention protests at all,
Oh, yeah.
or even like speak ill of it. Um,
It's kind of crazy times right now.
it is.
And I mean, I feel for both parties. Like, I think the protests need to happen, and I agree with them, but I also feel for the opposite side too.
Yeah.
Because both sides, I mean, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be such a scary feeling to think, like, if I get pulled over or if I'm pulling somebody over, both situations, I could be shot, you know, for those two groups.
Right.
Like you and me, well, I guess fortunate for us, but unfortunately that it is a thing. We don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Being white males, you know.
Right. Privilege, I guess.
Right. So, yeah,
There
I
are
can't.
still ways that it could go poorly for us, though.
Oh, absolutely.
That it's not just overall immunity to,
No.
it's not that kind of privilege.
But I will say that if we were to get pulled over, there's probably less of a risk, especially if we weren't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Even if we were doing something somewhat wrong, I mean, I feel like we'd be more likely to get out of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog was getting a little mouthy.
Yeah. Mine does
Still
that.
have that dog. He's a
I'm
pain.
trying to stick with it and train him correctly. I love dogs. Even little things like letting him walk out the door before me
Yeah.
is no. I train that out of him.
Yep.
Because if he thinks he can get away with that, he runs the house. And not gonna happen. Anytime that I'm playing with him and he gets too energetic or too rough with me, I need to be able to stop it immediately.
Right.
And
Before it goes too far.
yeah, and that's already a challenge. He talks back. He'll nip at me if he's unhappy with me. And I'm like, boy, I don't know. Just like cracking him over the face is not a solution. That's just gonna like fuel him more. And then he'll start like running fucking circles or running the backyard knowing I can't catch him. Because he's a quick little fucker. So I don't know. That's not the best solution. So I need to find a way to be more like Caesar Milan and do it with calm, collected. Yeah, yeah. Which he said is actually a very Latina mother thing to do. He goes, you find any Latina mom is going to be doing the to her kids, which is funny because that's a very Brazilian thing too. That same sound.
Right.
I was many times by women in Brazil. Not my mom, but other moms.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, are you any film endeavors whatsoever, personal or with Kiowa or anything?
Just that music video right now. I mean, COVID, like, I feel like we were starting to get some traction, and then all of a sudden it was just like cut off.
With JC Rocket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we've had several people reach out to us and stuff, and we were working on this music video. It should have been done months ago.
Sure.
But because COVID happened and that shutdown happened, it just kind of stopped everything right there.
Yeah.
Now that things are starting to go back to normal, but now I think there's going to be another shutdown. I don't really know. So I'd like it to take off because it'd be awesome. I miss doing stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. I bet you do because you were great to have on a film set, both professionally and just socially.
I just enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you
So
knew,
where I work now is a job.
yeah,
I feel like if I could do something within film, it'd be more of a hobby. So, but it'd be a hobby I'd be getting paid for.
sure. Until you
And I
build
think,
and build that hobby.
right. Well, it would always just be a hobby to me because I get just so much enjoyment out of it. I would never look at it as a job. Like, yeah, it's work, but
And I think Kiowa is always going to see you as a go-to for any film stuff that he gets and needs a crew.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. The way that I mean, you are his older brother. I see it when I see it uh, in him that he sees you as an older brother.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. His who Kiowa is around you, I don't see that in him anywhere else with anybody else socially, you know. So, and I've always linked you two together, Jake and Kiowa. It's always been Jake and Kiowa. That's how I met you. My first image of you two was together, and then I just saw you guys together in all these different social venues, and I am so confident that your professional film career will be linked with his, no problem. So
I would hope so because the actual idea for the name of our company we're trying to start, actually, it is a company now. It's officially an actual company.
good. You got your LCC?
No, it's what is it called? So we don't have the LLC yet
Yeah,
because that's more of like a liability thing.
yeah.
There's another. It's registered as a business. We just don't have our LLC. So if something were to happen, I don't know if I want to say that actually, because then people would know about it.
No.
Um,
Well, I can cut this out too.
so if something were to happen, like people could come at us with an LLC, they can't like sue us personally. They can sue the company,
Okay.
but they can't like take like our home or something.
Yeah.
So our personal stuff would not be on the line as a, but right now, because we don't have the LLC, that potentially could happen. But most of the people we're working with right now are pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're not doing like giant projects yet. So,
Cool.
I mean, they're still treated like big projects, but they're not like, if something were to happen, it'd be easy to fix, you know?
Right.
Like, say we lost footage.
Totally.
Stuff we do right now, we could probably fix that.
Most of us from Compass, like, I love to see you still having film on your radar because I think you have a place in film. And I think you made the right choice in dropping out of Compass because going through and getting the full degree has done me no good so far. So why would it do you any good? I'm still paying the same amount. I'm just paying more than you because so you're going about it the right way. That's what I'm saying. Having a correct job, a day-to-day job that funds your ability to have a hobby like film is what I'm trying to establish right now. I need to find a day-to-day job where I don't get molested and I can pursue my hobby on the side. You know.
I mean, so wait. Go back to the molested part. What? What?
Yeah, dude. I
Do you
mean,
mean that literally, or do you mean like your job kind of screwed you over? Or
no.
were you like actually like sexually harassed?
Yeah, no, I was.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's.
Say you were a female and it was a male coworker or someone doing that to you. Would have been handled completely different.
That guy's gone. He's gone. At
Oh,
one
really?
conversation, well, hypothetically, if like I'm joining in on your metaphor here, um,
Okay, yeah. That guy's
that
done.
guy, if that guy was reported by that female in one conversation to a manager, that manager ends it,
Oh yeah,
right? He walks up to the guy
absolutely.
and says, "You're gone."
Because people think that men cannot be sexually harassed.
Right. Or the,
I will say, working in a manufacturing setting, like that joke is pretty mild.
oh, I'm sure.
That's I've got a very dark sense of humor since I've been working there. Like my sense of humor is like it goes up all the way from like stupid kid funny to like you shouldn't say
yeah.
that.
Right.
So yeah, I get in situations sometimes where I'm telling a joke. I'm like, oh, we're not gonna tell that joke to this person.
yeah.
Anyways, how's your day?
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example of times that I've slipped up with a darker joke that was responded to by silence.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate that.
I made a racist joke to the audience that had just awarded me and Tristan with a film festival award. It was my
Oh yeah.
it was my opening joke, and one person laughed, and it was
Oh
I
no.
got confronted afterwards by an audience member. That joke was so inappropriate, just so you know. And he storms off. Uh,
Oh boy.
that was a bummer. I didn't even think it was that bad of a joke. So like they had just
Feel free to share it.
yeah, I can share. The um category before mine was a foreign film. And so they chose this like Spanish speaking film that had just won. And so I'm approaching the microphone because I've just won my award and Tristan's behind me. And I'm on a roulette of opening jokes. I have like 3 or 4 different ones that I could open with. And I grab the microphone and I go, "Hola, cómo estás?" Oh, sorry, wrong category. I just wanted to, and that was like,
That was the joke. That was it.
that was it. But it was deafening silence. I thought it was freaking funny
Wow,
because
that's hilarious.
I go up there and start like accepting the Spanish award, but then I'm like, oh shit, sorry. I think that is hysterical, and
I don't think that's racist. I don't know. I personally would laugh at it. I guess maybe because I know you and I know you're not racist.
yeah.
But I
You'd
don't.
be that one guy
How would
laughing.
that get taken racist though?
Um,
I don't want. I don't know.
maybe it was the "Hola, cómo estás?" Maybe it was that part of it that they didn't like.
With
The
the accent
imitating
and everything.
and the lisp. Maybe it was that. Whatever. Like it was apparently a woke audience. I hate even saying that.
Woke.
It's so stupid. So dumb.
I get it though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it was full of people like that, people from Salem and Portland, who are, just so liberal and you know, Salem and Portland is hugely behind the whole Black Lives Matter, and Portland is still having horrible riots. Like
Really?
it's still happening. I don't even think that other cities are doing it as violently as Portland is. The mayor of Portland just got tear gassed by cops, federal agents that Trump sent in. It's crazy.
The mayor did.
The mayor got tear gassed. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily protests going on here still, but there's or not protests, riots. I mean, I don't
Sure.
think there's riots going on. But I do know there are protests like almost every weekend still in Grand Rapids.
Okay. Yeah. I
So
don't know when they're gonna stop. What are
when
they
things
hoping?
change.
What are they hoping changes, dude? I don't know.
I don't know, racism is still very much a thing. And I think the protests are more so like, if you think about it, our education system is set up. We have like a Black History Month. Why does it have to be just that 1 month that we're learning about that stuff?
Right. Exactly.
And then the rest of the year we're learning about what, World War II or something?
Hmm.
I don't know. That's just an example, but like,
We're just not learning about anything outside ourselves at all. That's easy to do, is to not put in any effort to learn another culture, another language, another
right.
walk of life.
Well, our history books are written and they leave out some of the most graphic parts of history and they glorify certain areas. And we were brought up thinking that way, like, oh, this is a great thing. And come to find out, not really.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I agree with and don't agree with the whole movement right now, but I won't get into that. So I also haven't done a ton of research on it.
Sure.
So I don't want to misspeak and
Yeah.
be called out for that.
I'm for all lives matter. That's the only argument that makes sense to me. It's just like, why aren't black people calling for Asians to be included too? I mean, I get that they were
right. So the best way, I don't disagree. I do think all lives matter, but the whole Black Lives Matter thing right now is just that they're being, what's the word, oppressed more so than any other race right now. So they're just trying to draw focus on that. They're not just saying that only the Black Lives Matter. They're just trying to, it'd be like, say I have two neighbors, right? One of their houses is on fire. Hey, so-and-so's house is on fire. We need to go help him. Well, my house matters too. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I was explained to by that. I think I worded that right. If that makes sense.
the house is on fire and the neighbor doesn't.
You go to your neighbor and say, hey, we need to help Matt because his house is on fire. And your neighbor goes, well, my house matters too.
Uh-huh.
Well, yes, your house does matter, but your house isn't on fire, so Matt needs our help right now. That's kind of how it was explained to me.
I don't know. I think Asians are getting it pretty bad too right now because of the coronavirus.
Right. Yes.
Well,
I don't disagree with that.
I don't know how black people can claim that they're the most oppressed. They were probably
Just throughout. Right. So just throughout history in the U.S., like slavery is still like fairly, it's really not that old, right? Like comparatively to the rest of like world history.
Yeah.
I know like every culture's had some sort of slaves.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Oh, Lil Wayne, the rapper. I saw this video on TikTok, and he was saying, somebody was like, "Can you comment on the Black Lives Matter?" And he goes, "Why are we even putting a label on it? Why are we saying Black Lives Matter?" He goes, "I am a rich black man in the United States. If that doesn't tell you Black Lives Matter, I don't know what does." And I was like, yeah, because before a couple hundred years ago, where was the rich black man? He was nowhere to be seen.
Right.
Maybe a couple that escaped and whatever. I don't mean escaped, but like who slipped through the cracks and like were able to make a name for themselves as a black man in the 1800s. I would imagine somewhere along the lines that happened. And
Morgan looking into.
Morgan Freeman even said the same thing. I saw, maybe it was just a recording of him, but he was saying the same deal. Like the fact that I am where I am in this country says Black Lives Matter. Why do we have to label it so specifically and put any sort of a name on it? That's more offensive than anything. And Terry Crews on Twitter was getting a bunch of shit for saying, "Let's make sure Black Lives Matter does not mean Black Lives Better." And I feel that that's
Right.
actually what Black Lives Matter means. I think it means Black Lives Better, and
Like with the whole equality thing too, like extreme feminist
yes,
stuff want
yes,
equality across the board. Well, some of the things they're proposing, now these are extremists. I'm not saying all feminists, there's some of the things they're proposing are so that women get better like benefits or whatever than men. That's probably along the same lines. I'm sure there's people within that movement that feel that way, that Black Lives Better.
yeah,
But I think the main purpose is just to draw attention to the oppression. Because if you look at like poverty-ridden like cities and stuff, what is the main race there,
mhm.
And why is that?
Yeah, true. With the feminists and the Black Lives Better, I feel like they just want to point out, like, now you get to take a seat. If we're on a teeter totter and you've been here the whole time and I'm here now, we're making it like this with the whole
Right.
getting more benefits or defunding the police entirely. I feel like their intent.
That I don't agree with either, because
Yeah,
like
I see that as
you're
evil.
just basically doing the same thing you're protesting for, right? Like they're protesting because they're oppressed and police are killing them.
Right.
Well, you defunding the police is basically saying all police are bad, which is what you're protesting because you're trying to prove that not all black people are bad.
Yeah,
But you want to defund the police even though not all police are bad.
exactly.
I get police choose that career and they didn't choose to be born black.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make a difference, I don't think you should go back and try to oppress the oppressors.
Uh-huh.
There's got to be some way to find some sort of common ground.
Yeah.
And
That's
honestly,
exactly what it should be, is common ground. Nobody rises up, be the bigger man,
right.
and equalize.
Yeah. And honestly, defunding the police, I think, is going to make things worse.
Oh,
if anything, fund them more so they have more than 6 months of training.
Yep.
They can do more thorough background checks and really get to know the people that are getting put on the force. I mean, they get 6 months to learn how to de-escalate a situation with a gun in their face like that. Tell me what human being is going to be able to do that with 6 months of training.
And that argument would never be heard by the public. To fund them more would never be heard.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd get backlash for saying that too. But I know I'm not the only one that thinks that either.
Right.
So,
I was going to ask what has been, we've kind of voiced some stuff, but what's been on your heart and mind recently? What's been like reoccurring, even if you haven't like voiced it yet?
as far as
anything.
I guess lately I've been kind of putting my nose to the grindstone, just trying to make more money and stuff, because I would like to buy a house again.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's kind of where my mind's been set at. That in summer, I don't know. I've been kind of stuck in this weird, like, mentally I feel, I don't know how to explain it, like kind of stuck. And I think it's because of the whole pandemic, but we won't get back into that because I think we've talked about that shit a lot.
Sure.
But I guess more recently, I've come out of a slump, and I'm just kind of trying to work as much as I can. I actually might start technically a second job, but it wouldn't actually be like a second job.
Oh.
So it'd be like a sales thing. So it'd just be all based on commission. So the more I'd sell, the more I'd make.
And that can kind of be up to you, right?
Right.
Nice.
I'd kind of make my own hours and stuff. So kind of. I'd pick my days. It'd be like so you know how Kiowa's sister sells leggings?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start going live for her, I think.
Oh.
And like sell those.
Gotcha.
I think she said it'd be either like $100 or $300 anytime I go live. So if I were to do that 2 or 3 times a week, and it's 2 hours of my time,
yeah,
no question.
I actually still have video footage of us dancing with Tristan and Joe in my room.
I was thinking about that the other day, actually. When you sent me that picture and said it was from a random party, I was like, I was wondering if you still got that footage.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. The footage that I have from is years before that picture was taken. But I still on my phone have a bunch of footage from parties. I can even throw them up in the podcast. I've been doing that, or I did that with Robbie's, where like if we were talking about like a specific scene in a movie, I would grab that scene and throw it in the podcast as we're talking about it.
Oh, really?
I can even do that with some of this footage too.
Make sure it's appropriate.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't think I
don't think there's anything inappropriate, but
I never shot anything that would be harmful, or whatever.
I don't think
I shot
so.
was always like at parties. Sure, there's beer cans and probably some bongs and cigarette shit all around, but no, nothing inappropriate or anything. Some of it's really funny, like you, Dustin, and Andrew blowing into beer bottles. Just making that sound. I just have a video of you guys doing that for like, Snapchat 20 seconds or something. Just
that one Snapchat you took of me and Kiowa on my couch in the basement.
And he's tickling you.
Yeah.
Stop.
I still have that saved on my
phone. Dude, that's what I'm talking about is the brotherly relationship. Because you mean it. You're legitimately going, stop. It's so funny.
He can be such a dick sometimes, man. Yeah. But I love him.
Yeah. That's the thing is he doesn't have that relationship with me. He never showed that side to me. He would never like sit and poke and tickle me on a couch. Not that I would want him to.
I guess that's.
But it's specifically with you, which is admirable.
I guess I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I do want him to sit and poke me on the couch. Actually.
That can be arranged.
You hear the bird right after I said that? The bird goes.
He's been whistling a couple of times.
That was the first one I caught.
Maybe it's not going to shut up. No, he does like to push my buttons a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he can get away with it, that's why.
Right. And your reactions are what he's wanting.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was earlier this past winter. I want to say. We were at the bar. I don't remember it, but he called me the next day and told me, he's like, dude, like, you were really pissed at me last night. I was like, why? I guess I was like drunk. And he's like, I'm going to face, dude. And I ended up slapping him.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Oh, my God. Wow.
It was funny. I mean, I don't think I was genuinely mad at him, but
Yeah, sure. That's probably something you would have remembered had it been.
if I was actually mad at him, yeah. All right, man. I'll let you go. I'm sure Kaylee's waiting for me too.
For
She
sure.
wanted to watch a movie, so
Yeah, tell her I said what up.
I will.
Yeah. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Love you, man.
Love you too.